Hey y'all, it's Kim. So this is going to be the fifth page, and this isn't every single document because there was actually one or two that might have been overlapping from page 5 in the JFK files. I'm kind of doing whatever is legible at this point, because some of this stuff is not. But this one has 77 pages. I'm not going to go through the full thing, obviously, because that would take forever, and I'm not doing all that reading. You can go through there in the archives and look it up. But I think a lot of these names, just in the first few pages, actually are like code names for some of the people. Because it says David Atlee Phillips, and then it says all aliases and pseudonyms, and then the same thing for Michael J. King. And then I think it says something later on. So crypt request from Leslie Weisselman or Wisselman, and this is February 15th, 1978. I guess these are names of some of the missions they were doing, or maybe this could be people's names. So Bell, which says pseudo, so a pseudonym. Um, there's a number next to it. These could be phone numbers. They could be, I mean, they could be anything. They could be just agent numbers. I don't know. A.M. Clatter. And then this right here. William Carr. So I don't know exactly what this is, but it's like at least 5 or 6 pages, maybe a little more. This is a true name, Jim Pokich, Peakage. I don't know. True name, Office of Security. Let's see here. And then that's the end of those. So that's 5 pages. And then we've got this Alberto Fernandez Echevarria. And then Don Hogan's friend, maybe. Norm, Davis or Diaz. Here's some more names. And a lot of this stuff they've crossed off. Here's this name again. That could be the same form. Page 6. And then it says all pseudos and aliases of something. And then E. Howard Hunt, maybe. And then fill in name Strathconte. And then fill in name Roselli. And then CI. This you'll see later on down here. There's CI again. And then I don't know if that means like confidential informant. That's what usually CI means, but who knows? I mean, this is all, yeah, see, this is the same thing again. They had the CI and then a little bit more information, spatial cable routing and something sensitive CI case. Kinsman, Norman Richard. DOA to me means dead on arrival. So maybe this is the date the person died. Or it could be that they got rid of the name. Who knows? We have no idea because this is like internal memos and things like that that apparently were pulled into the what did it say, like the council or something like that. I'll show you in just a second. See all these names? It says DOA, 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 DOA. So either they stopped using it or that means that the person actually passed away. So these could be some of the names of people that were witnesses and died. I don't know. But let's see. I think it says something about the Commission on Assassinations. I think that's what this is for. So this is probably like discovery information of how they picked these names and stuff. See, it says request for Cuba desk crypts by House Select Committee on Assassinations, and this is February 16th, 1978. CI staff asked that we provide the identity of the following crypts and pseudos in response to a request from the HC or HSCA. In responding, I asked the CI staff to please let us know in advance any such future requests from the HCSA relating to Cuba and Cuban operations. And then it says Amir, or Ameer. It says, I assume this is Amir 1, who is Aureliano Sanchez Arango 201 19245. CI Gar, like cigar. It says check with Venezuela branch. The CI digraph was assigned to that area. QTube, which is foreign intelligence staff. AM Patrol, we have a AM Patrol 1 201 743 531 Jose Antonio Gomez Perez and Gillespie. They don't know what that is. Trafcanti, which is a pseudo. This is no doubt, or this no doubt is the mafia figure. True name Santos Trafficante. Bernard L. Baker, True, I guess is another name. Oh, excuse me, Am Clatter 1. And then 201 251 689. AM Palm is Jose Ignacio Augusto Rasco Bermudez 201 274 330. And then that's AM Clatter 5 is Alberto de Jesus Alberti Garcia. AM Hawk 2 is Jesus Esposito Lorenzo 201 281 692. AM Hawk 1 Manuel Antonio Verona y Laredo 201 196 435. And then the CI Rake 1, it says check with Venezuela Bank. CID graph was assigned to that desk. JMNet, they don't know. Roselli, pseudo. This is no doubt is the mafia type. Johnny Roselli. MASH, they don't have anything. AM Chirp. Which number? There are several. And then AM Palm 4, Angel Fernandez Varela 201 273 453. AM Well 3, Joaquin Sangenes Perdomo 201 266 348. Deceased. Email. Which number? There are several. Check with the appropriate area desk. The CIHU, which would be a Costa Rica desk, I guess. And then QD Cove, Ricardo Luis de la Lori Balls 201 262 328. El Galbond looks like pseudo. This was Oliver G. Galbond, pseudo for former C/WHD Colonel J. Caldwell King, deceased. And then BG actress, IO division. And then John R. Meigs, Arthur Jacobs, which is a true name. Elmo R. Langtree, Richard W. Brastetter, true name. Wallace L. Parlett, Gerald Droller, true name, retired. AM Norm, which number? There are several. CRA 3, CRA 6, American Crew 1, Guillermo Alonzo, Pujol, something like that. Amslaw 1, Pedro Julio Martinez, Fraga E. Fernandez, Amaron is, I guess, okay, FRD, the Frente Revolucionario. Sorry, I know that's basically the Revolutionary Democratic Front. I can't say all that. AM Jag, Justo A. Carrillo Hernandez, QD Dale, William D. Pauley, true name deceased. We saw his name earlier on one of the things. And then Playdon, William D. Playdon, which was a pseudo. AM Jute, no record. AM Jute TE 1, Ernesto Napoleon Rodriguez and Gonzalez, Amrung 1, Rogelio Gonzalez y Corzo, Hamlin 1, Jesus A. Valdez Cardenas. So basically, this just keeps going and going with all these different names. It says the above list consists, excuse me, the above list constitute those passed to Chris Hopkins and Bill Sturbitz by the CI staff. I guess they were keeping on all these people. And then you got more names here. I'm not going to keep going through all this. I guess that's the Cuban Intel Service. Is that maybe what the CI stands for? I mean, they've got just names and names and names and names. I mean, you can go through here if you'd like. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm just kind of looking at this. So, President John F. Kennedy, there's his name. Counter espionage involving Soviet intelligence services worldwide. I'm just looking Soviet embassy, house adjacent to embassy backyard, Secret Service within Department of Treasury, um, former Mexican president. I'm just looking for anything that kind of stands out. Um, Immigration and Naturalization Service. So I'm wondering if these people had anything to do with like the Bay of Pigs, or I mean, I don't know what's the point of this pseudos and aliases. Howard Hunt. I thought Howard Hunt owned some stores and stuff, but I could be wrong. Maybe not. That name sounds familiar. I guess we can look it up while I'm here. Howard Hunt. Like the name. Oh, E. Howard Hunt. Oh, he's an author. Oh, All the President's Men. Who is Howard Hunt? Okay, I guess he wrote the book on that. Let's look. I want to look at his little Wikipedia page. Okay. Okay, Hunt served as an officer in the CIA, where he was a central figure in the U.S. regime change in Latin America, including the 1954 Guatemalan coup d'etat, coup d'etat, I guess I don't know, and the 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba. Let me get this real quick. Well, I'm gonna cough again. Along with G. Gordon Liddy, Frank Sturgis, that was another name, and others, Hunt was one of the Nixon administration's so-called White House plumbers, a team of operatives charged with identifying government leaks to outside parties. Okay, now we know who that is. Okay, let's see if there's any names that kind of pop out at us. I know this is long. I'm like I said, I don't want to read it all. It says true names for pseudos 7. They need something. It was probably redacted and then over. It's like probably flip the page over so you see it all. That's blank. Oh no, here's some names. Nothing that stands out. Okay. Okay, here's some of those names again. Oh, it's got like addresses and no project. So it looks like these are the people's addresses, maybe? Or no? Okay. So y'all can see some of this on here. I'm just looking at it. I don't know. I don't know what all this means. Some of these look like the same pages and same information. Alberto and Jesus Alberto. Okay. So let's see. Nothing really standing out here. Okay, I think I'm done with this one. Let's move on to the next one. So this is a memorandum, and then ML Locta maybe? Plans and Review Group, Central Cover Staff, House Select Committee on Assassinations Request, letter for OLC from Chief Counsel Director of SCA, dated 8th of March, 1978. I was born in 1978. In response to the request and reference, CCS files contain information on 5 of the 19 individuals listed as follows. A Mrs. G. Stanley Brown. 4 documents contain reference to Verna Dean Stebbins Brown, born August 12, 1928 in Waynoka, I guess, Oklahoma, wife of George Stanley Brown, born 18th of May, 1926 in Fargo, Oklahoma, an agency employee from 1952 to 1962. David E. Murphy, approximately 100 documents concerning primarily the establishment, maintenance, and use of cover for subject during his agency career as a staff employee from April 1948 to July 1975. Oh my goodness, that's a long time. And then Grayston Lynch, approximately 60 documents concerning the establishment, maintenance, and use of cover for subject during his agency career from February 1961 to September 1971. Upon retirement in 1971, subject gave Tampa, Florida as his forwarding address. Robert Moore, approximately 50 documents concerning Robert Butler Moore, born 21st of June 1913 in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, an agency staff employee from June 1950 to December 1971. The documents concern primarily the establishment, maintenance, and use of cover for subject during his agency career. Among other assignments, subject served in Miami, Florida from 1961 to something I can't see here. This I can't see. In 1970, subject gave as his forwarding address the following: something Turner Lane. 3511 maybe, Turner Lane, Chevy Chase, Maryland, in connection with the HSCA's desire to interview subject. If he is identical to the subject of reference request, CCS files indicate that subject retired in covert status. What? The HSCA should be advised the subject's agency affiliation remains classified. Information requiring protection. CCS files also contain approximately 25 documents on Robert T. Moore Jr., born 19th of May 1937 in Woodland, California, who was an agency staff employee from September 1962 to July 1972. Bill Logay, I guess, approximately 25 documents concerning William John Logay, born 27th of May 1942 in Chicago, Illinois, an agency employee from October 1967 to January 1972. The documents concern primarily the establishment, maintenance, and use of cover for subject during his agency career. Upon resignation in 1972, subject left no forwarding address. CCS file contained no information on the remaining individuals listed in reference request. So whoever this ML Latte, I don't know, Latte, I don't know what his name is. This is somebody requesting, I guess, for this House Select Committee on Assassinations. So Bob Baker, FR plans. Let's see, this has 5 pages. Susan Watkins. This handwriting looks very familiar to something I saw earlier. And then remarks. Russell Bryan's possible. Claudio Benetti. Mary Ellen Scott possible. Gladys Benetti resigned February 29th, 1968. Jose Manuel Berenguer, Walter Briggs, Enu Waters, possible. Leonard J. Desmond, possible. Howard Shing Chow. I don't know what this is. Active, okay. Currently in New York. And then Edward Hao Sang Lee. And then Russell Brines, possible. His name is up here again. And then Fred Zusi, Peter Now, Francisco Chin, Susan Watkins, and then whatever CAS 1323. This is Smart Secrets. Okay. This is Howard M. And there's a bunch of names here. Rosenbaum, Tyler, Mason. I'm just reading their last name. Sancombe. And it's got numbers to it. Okay, retired. A CI, I guess. And then these are just some written notes. Something Woods and wife. Wow. Louise, maybe? Fred Randall. Ray Swider? I don't know. Wheeler? Pete Wheeler? I wonder if this is just like either they talk to him or what. What is all this? Like, who knows? Without knowing the context. Uh, SADO, and then Shepanik. This is what I worked out with Susan Watkins. She will review the subject files and she will also call Tom Crawford, excuse me, in contract personnel, maybe. Is Bob Baker. March 30th, 1978. Okay, so this is March 31st of 1978, 10:28 a.m. And then attention, Susan Watkins. It says, per our telecon yesterday, I am returning the list of names you provided me for checking. I'm only concerned about the protection of Howard Hao Shing Chow. He is current asset of the FR base New York. I would appreciate it if in the course of sanitizing any of the other names listed on the attached routing slip, you would delete Howard's as well. Many thanks. Bob Baker. I guess he was still working, so they want to keep him safe. This is another 33-page thing. It says Gunnar Beckman. Let's just look. This is like some, just like handwritten notes. This says something from Belgium. Bagley, 56, Shaman du Grotien. I don't know, something like that. Oh, James Jesus Angleton. Oh, 4814 North 33rd Road, Arlington, Virginia. Nelson Brickman. Okay. So do not know if interviewed. Okay, so maybe that's what these are, is interview notes. Sorry, Lola. Goldsmith said not interviewed and requested. I don't know, something right there. Sorry. Good grief, I'm having trouble. Okay. So this actually has people's, I guess, personal information here. This is kind of crazy. It says George Breen, 3608 Mason Street, Fairfax, Virginia. Says he's in Tokyo. Excuse me, I'm getting choked up here. And I guess this is in Tokyo too. Eleanor Breen. Maybe that's the wife. Okay. Joseph Bullock resigned. So this must be names of people that they tried to find for this House Select Committee on Assassinations. That's kind of what I'm piecing together here. They're trying to get information and talk to them about this stuff. And they have phone numbers here. William V. Bro, 111 Indian Trail is north. I don't know what this is. I can't tell what that is. Okay, William S. Bright. Okay. Interviewed under alias by Cornwell and Hardway. I guess that would be either agents or people in the select committee thing, or it was attorneys. So maybe this name was redacted, something Christ, aka Dan Carswell. Wow. So it's got a lot of names, addresses, phone numbers. Um, Again, I don't want to go through all of this. I mean, if you really want to see it, go on to the archives and just take a look, because there's some of them aren't going to make any sense to us. Just like I didn't realize that's what this was, is interview or names and people that they tried to get a hold of while they're within the agency, or just witnesses that they come up with. I just want to look through, see if there's anything interesting. I mean, James Jesus Angleton's about the only one that I saw that I kind of like, okay, yeah, he was a CIA dude. Okay, as a project manager, this is Bertram Marine. Okay, this, I can't see all this, was not in Tokyo 1963 to 64. And then it says something Wilcott identified as having told him Oswald was an agent. This, it says, this is man Wilcott identified as having told him Oswald was an agent. Leap spoke to him in Florida. So I guess Jeremy or Jerome Fox. Okay. So that's okay. So we got something out of that. Oswald. I'm not saying one way or another. I'm not seeing like anything too sticking out other than uh his name is mentioned several times in the documents. Let's see. So this must be kind of a follow-up thing. So these people have pseudonyms. Richard Helms, 4649 Gasfield, I guess, Street, Northwest, Washington, D.C. I mean, that's a pretty important name. Chester Ito. Oh, Howard E. Hunt, again, that, or E. Howard Hunt, Howard E. Hunt, whatever. The author, the guy that was involved. Yeah, this guy here, the Bay of Pigs. Where was I? Okay. So these people were interviewed. Um, Florian, Randolph Carty, Thomas, William Kent, um, Autumn Kenner, Robert Keith, says it in Tokyo, I guess for, okay, on assignment maybe. Grayston Lynch, we heard that name earlier. Frankie Levi, retired. And I guess it's a contract. George Kiswalter, Elwood Martin. I'm probably not saying their names right, but hey, whatever. Peggy Maggood, currently employed. 1349, maybe that's their number. John McCone. I've heard that name. I don't know why. It might be because I'm reading the CIA book, The Legacy of Ashes. Tom Matsui, still employed by Tokyo contract. Hope Mason in Tokyo. It shows the dates interviewed. April 7th, 1978. Scotty, Newton. So this is just a list of people that they had, I guess, gotten a hold of, or some of them, or they tried to, interviewed, executed section on attorney, informants, George Monroe, David Murphy, Dan Neisser, currently employed, Howard Orr, interviewed April 11th, 1978, Robert O'Geary, contract log off of Tokyo, Blanche O'Connell, Donald Poole. Let's see, research section of SR6. Joseph Piccolo, probably. Jack Randall, Frederick Randall, Lewis Puckett, OTR, retired. Raymond Roca, we saw that name, I think. So these are all the people, I guess they tried to get a hold of. Pseudonym Thomas P. Casson. Okay. Can't see what that is. Eleanor Reed. It says under nurses care for emphysema, probably. Cannot speak. Saki Kiyoshi. Leo Rosenbaum. David Ronis. What is this? Suburban Properties. Oh, guess is his business card, maybe? That's what they put over here. David Ronis. Okay, Robert Sawicki. Naomi Sato. Robert Sam Bernardi. Joseph Smith. Peter Slobogin in Tokyo. Currently employed. Something about interview. I can see that. Robert Shaw. Currently Stetson. Sausage Sagalo. Richard Snyder. Brief employment. Harold F. Swinson. Approximate day. Interviewed in D.C. in August for 5 hours. Wow. That's a long time. Mary Elizabeth Stuckey. Avril T. Stewart. Tyler Royal resigned in September 17th, 1965. New York. Tovar, current employee, deposed. Raymond Schneider. Okay. George von Bretzel. Okay. Guy Vitale. He's got a pseudonym at U.C. Justin. And then Mina E. Vance. So this is her maiden name. Boyle Matt. Boyle May. I don't know, boy. And then Robert Wheeler. Kazuo Watanabe. Doris Watanabe. David Wilstead. Jack Whitten. Oh, okay. Austria. Contact via station. Interviewed in Washington. Alan P. White. Suzuo Yamada. And James and Louise Wood, current employee. And then that's when they were interviewed. Richard Winch. Interesting. And then there's this letter again. These are the same names Some of the same names you heard earlier. Logay, um, yeah, Brown, Murphy, Lynch, and then more. So that's a duplicate form. And then this is ML Lata, Plans and Review Group, Central Cover Staff, House Select Committee on Assassinations, Request Letter for OLC for Chief Counsel Director. This is a response to the request and reference. UCS files contain information on Marie L. Prispex, I guess that's how you say it, a pseudonym officially assigned to Hedda Massing, a U.S. citizen born 6th of January 1900, who was an agency contract agent from 1956 until her retirement. In 1975, the information is contained in approximately 60 documents, virtually all of which contain the establishment and the maintenance of cover. The CCS files contains no information on the remaining individuals listed. LM Lotta, we saw his name earlier. And what all these little codes are, I have no idea. It's just interesting. And this one was from, wow, February of 1962. Okay, let's see here. Scott wrote this report on Antonio Rodriguez or Hasabel. I can't even read this. Yeah, it's very hard to read. Something Bingham, maybe, is the last name. Mortimer F. Bingham. Some of these I can read, some of them I can't. Let's see. Somebody, Officer Silbert, Ann Silbert. Let's see what we can read. This says memorandum for M.D. Bajoli. Bajoli? I don't know. Bajoli? Report on Antonio Rodriguez Echezabel. Antonio Rodriguez Echezabel was born in Cuba on 17th of August 1913. He has a master's degree in agriculture, professedly has no religion, but is a Mason. Rodriguez is married to Edith Jones, who was born in Cuba on 10th of March 1917. She is, however, a Haitian origin, being the daughter of a former Haitian ambassador to Belgium, and she is a devout Episcopalian. The couple is known to have 3 children, a son who was last reported to be in Havana, Cuba, a daughter married to a man of German birth who was employed in the Castro Land Reform Organization until his departure for Germany in December of 1961, and a son, Antonio Rodriguez Jones, born 24th of August 1943 at Havana, who was studying at the, is it École Française? I don't know, Franchise? I don't know, International in Washington, D.C. in 1961. This son has been reported to be anti-U.S. and to have requested permission of his father to go to Cuba or to another socialist country to continue his education. Antonio Rodriguez Jones resided in Washington, D.C. with Yvonne Jones, his aunt and sister of the wife of Antonio Rodriguez Echezabal. I don't know how you say that. Miss Jones was born 10th of April 1910 at Antwerp, Belgium. She was unmarried and was a secretary at the Pan American Health Organization. She became a U.S. citizen in 1959. Since the Castro regime has come to power, Miss Jones is said to have spoken quite openly for Castro and against the U.S. government. Rodriguez lived in Haiti for about 18 years prior to the commencement of his diplomatic career, having been barred by the Batista government from returning to Cuba. He became a Haitian citizen and was the owner of a Port-au-Prince meat market called El Oso Blanco. When Castro, I think that's the white bear, if I'm thinking of my Spanish correct, it says when Castro assumed power in Cuba, Rodriguez took over the Cuban embassy in Port-au-Prince in January 1939 after the Batista appointed officials had fled to the Dominican Republic. Soon thereafter, he was named ambassador to Haiti. Following his appointment to the diplomatic post, Rodriguez continued to maintain contact with persons in opposition to President Duvalier of Haiti, and then a citizen of Cuba. Something is blurred out here. In late July 1959, Haiti was invaded by a small group of Cubans, supposedly as a prelude to an invasion of the neighboring Dominican Republic. The incursion was successfully repelled by the Haitian government, which publicly charged Rodriguez with complicity in the raid. Rodriguez then closed the Cuban embassy and returned to Cuba after selling his private property in Haiti. While Rodriguez was still in Haiti, two attempts were made on his life. He accused the Trujillo regime in the Dominican Republic and indirectly the Haitian government complicity in those attacks. In November 1959, Rodriguez went to Guatemala as Cuban ambassador. There, he appears to have associated freely with pro-communist groups. It says something. Oh, in March 1960, he was requested by the Guatemalan government to leave the country on the ground that he was engaging in activities inimical, I don't know, to the best interests. I don't know what this is. Inimical to the best interests of Guatemala. I don't even know what that means. Basically against them. Okay. November 1960, Rodriguez reported to Karachi, Pakistan as Cuba ambassador. His wife accompanied him there and served as his chief secretary during the initial months of his tour there. His closest relations in the diplomatic colony were with officials of the Belgian embassy, presumably as a result of the fact that Belgium had represented Cuba when there was no Cuban representative in Karachi. During 1961, however, his social contacts were almost exclusively with Soviet, satellite, and Chinese communist diplomatic personnel. In late 1961, when Rodriguez apparently had decided to defect, he confided to an acquaintance in the diplomatic colony that he was finished with politics and wanted to devote the rest of his life to agriculture. He, something, at the time, he, to go to, see, I don't know. Oh, I guess he hoped at the time to go to the Dominican Republic or to another unspecified South American nation. At the time of his departure for Karachi by air for Germany in early 1962, Rodriguez reportedly made only a very limited statement at the airport regarding his defection. The event apparently received very little, if any, press notice in Pakistan. Insufficient information exists at present to permit a determination as to the genuineness of Rodriguez's disaffection with the Castro regime. For reasons which have not as yet been fully reported, the Department of State denied a visa to Rodriguez, apparently after he had made the decision to resign his post in Pakistan. We understand, however, that following his arrival in France in January 1962, he received permission from French authorities to travel to and reside in Martinique. It appears that he left France on 3rd of January 1962 en route to Martinique. This service would appreciate having the results of any debriefing of Rodriguez by French authorities with particular reference to the reasons for his resignation and his plans for the future. So, whatever this guy was up to, who knows? But he was in Castro's Cuba. So, anyway, I just thought I'd share those documents with you guys. It's kind of interesting. I mean, some of the names you'll see over and over again. Obviously, Oswald's in there, but I'm still not sure after watching some of the stuff and reading some of the stuff and listening to some people. I mean, it's like, I don't know, but who knows? We'll see if we can get to the bottom of some of this. Maybe something will pop out. So far, it just seems like a lot of internal documents and memos, things like that. But you never know. Something might pop out. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Like, share, and subscribe. Talk to you later. Bye.